Hey everybody, welcome to the Your Life Blueprint Sound Vibrations for the day of Friday. Please share these videos if you can. Let everybody know about the connection between the energy of the day and the energy inside of you. So today is Friday, and today is the day of the Idealist personality, Idealist vibration. We've spoken in the past that it's all about the senses. Well, let's look at least one of those senses today, which would be the sense of touch, and then maybe even the sense of sight, seeing. So the senses draw the awareness within for someone who has the idealist in their spiritual area, in their blueprint. So, like I do, and so did Sun Ra, and the Dalai Lama, and many other people. So the senses are spiritual things for these kind of people. And so the sense of touch would be like fabrics and clothing and, like that. So the Raja Yogi spiritually, for him or her, even clothing can be a spiritual thing. Clothing, nice clothing, beautiful clothing that feels nice, that fits nicely, that, you see in the store and you're like, or you try on, you're like, oh, I have to have this. I don't care how much it costs. I've done that a number of times. And treasure those clothes or those shoes or whatever today, because they strangely enough bring me some spiritual fulfillment. Not material, spiritual. Lead me inside. I know it sounds strange. And you can have the idealist anywhere in the blueprint, but especially when it's in the spiritual, it's really strong like this. So Sun Ra had this, and look at Sun Ra. I mean, his whole presentation was all about these outrageously beautiful clothes that the band wore or wears still, and this like whole presentation with dancing and lights and sound and you name it. It's a big Raja Yoga idealist presentation, And the great drummer, Charlie Watts, who just left the bandstand the other day, also was an idealist spiritually, a Raja Yogi. And this guy was dressed to the nines all the time. Like that was just his daily mode of operating. Get up, put on a three-piece, beautifully tailored suit, nice shoes, amazing. There's a little interview with him in GQ magazine from a few years ago. He says, the jazz thing was a big influence, of course, but I really got a love of clothes from my father. Not because he had a huge wardrobe or anything, but he used to take me to his tailor. In those days, you'd have a little guy in the East End of London who made you things. And then I fell in love with a lot of Hollywood pop singers at the time, like Billy Eckstine, who favored really distinctive collars on his shirts. Wonderful looking man as well. The lovely thing about jazz guys in that period, the 50s and 60s, was that they were very handsome men. Duke Ellington, Lester Young, Charlie Parker, Miles Davis, but they were also very stylish. When Miles wore a green shirt on the cover of Milestones, and everyone had to have that green shirt. Another big iconic guy, Dexter Gordon, made a record called Our Man in Paris, and he had one of those pins through his collar, which now I have hundreds of. The lovely thing about all of them, though, was that their clothes were worn. They weren't just put on to the office and back. They sat all night in these things. They played in those suits. How they played in those suits, I don't know. Yeah, there's a comfort for the Raja Yogi, like a spiritual comfort in clothing that feels really good on the body. Amazing. Like when I first wore cashmere. Oh, jeez. Cashmere calms me down. If I feel anxious or tense, if I put on something cashmere sweater, or even we've got a couple of cashmere hats. Wow. I call them my therapy hats, my anxiety hat. Really brings me right back inside, right back to the spiritual. Of course, don't try this if you're not an idealist in the spiritual, because you wind up spending a lot of money and might go broke. And it will only be a material thing for you. But for me and Sun Ra and Charlie Watts and Chogyam Trungpa, great Buddhist teacher who always wore a suit and tie and was always immaculately dressed, it's spiritual therapy. Explore the beauty of the world today and let it take your awareness inside, deep inside.